Hello and welcome to another episode of Unfiltered Rugby League, episode 2. So thank you everyone who tuned into the first episode. It's now on Spotify and YouTube, available to watch back if you do want to see our 2026 season preview. This is proudly sponsored by Nova Coffee in Sisset, Huddersfield, and it's hosted by Conor and
Shay.
So we look forward to going through the 2026 preview once more and looking into the coaches, players who might be under pressure and who's going to be the surprise package and possibly Man of Steel contenders and who they might be for the up and coming 2026 season. We hope you enjoy the episode and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube and our Spotify channels. So let's get started. Nice easy one just to start the episode off. Who do you reckon hardest bloke in Super League is? I reckon there's a few.
Who you won't want to scrap or who you won't want to run against?
I reckon then, why don't we look at it as, if you had to pick 3 blokes about to get in a scrap somewhere in the middle of Huddersfield, and you want 3 blokes with you from Super League, which 3 blokes are you picking?
Edwin Apape.
Great shout.
Just feel like I'm coming out of nowhere and just wipe someone out.
Flying across the club.
Yeah. Edwin Apape. Need a bit of height and strength in there, so I'm going to pick Tom Burgess. He's in Huddersfield as well, to be quite handy.
Local lad.
Yeah, local.
Speed dial. You got him on speed dial.
Yeah, you don't need to come too far. And then third one, I'm going to go Oledsky.
Oledsky.
Just looks scary. Looks a bit scary, doesn't it?
Scary bloke.
Yeah.
Very scary. You won't want to mess with them.
No.
So what would you do? Put them 3 in front of you and stand behind them?
Good lineup that. I reckon Tom Burgess and Oledsky up front. And
Great front row actually.
Yeah, and then a puppy comes out of nowhere and just spears someone to the deck.
Do you reckon you pick any wingers?
No. Don't get me wrong, they'll all be handy, but no wingers.
Yeah, you've always got a couple of prop forwards. Maybe
Marcus Evo.
Oh yeah. Scary bloke.
Yeah.
Or Rafa.
Yeah.
Cass fans looking forward to him coming next season.
Yeah, that's my 3.
That's the front row. Do you reckon your front row would have my 3 though? If I thought about it. So if he was still playing, Mickey Mack would be. he'd be leading line. He's one scary bloke.
Yeah.
He'd be leading line for me.
Something tells me he's always up for a scrap as well.
Yeah, I reckon he just loves it.
Yeah.
Just loves scrap. But yeah, he's done, so I'll come away from Mickey Mack. I'll go with, he were a good shout to be fair. He were on my mind at first. I reckon Brad O'Neill would have a good scrap.
Brad O'Neill, another 9, feisty.
Yeah, I reckon there's no messing about with him. Just loves a scrap.
Yeah.
Straight in there, no messing about. Won't have him, no messing about with you. Looking at your props, aren't you?
Yeah, you want some big.
Probably a few 13s knocking about as well. To be fair, I won't be messing with Clemmer.
No.
I bet he's had a few scraps in his time.
To be fair, I say this, I won't mess with any. Wingers, centres, fullbacks, halves, none of them.
Yeah, a few backward steps, I think, with them. 100%. Yeah, I might go with Clemmer. Brad O'Neill. Clemmer. And who's the other one? Gets you thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
It's got to be one of Islanders, probably, hasn't it? Surely.
You've got to have one of them in, yeah. Just bring a bit of
throw him in there.
Added extra, don't they?
What's his face was still there. Old Pangai Jr.
Yeah, but he's quite.
You're not messing about with him either,
are you?
One more. You keep going to it front rowers, don't you? To think maybe one of them. So I go with Brad O'Neill. He's leading line. No messing about. He's cleaning them straight out. He's had his bigs in blankets and he's coming into first.
I'm trying to think of any fights that I've seen.
Don't
you know what I mean?
Put
Game's gone.
You think all them now that probably were scrapping in games gone by.
Bring back the biff.
Done on it. Yeah. That's another one for another times. Biff's got to be brought back. Players probably won't mind a bit of biff either, would they?
Calms it down.
They'll be well up for it.
We don't count.
Get it settled. Have it out for a bit. Shake hands afterwards. Done with it.
Yeah, game's gone now.
Yeah. I reckon there's still some hard blokes in there. There's some that you're not messing about with, some flying out at line. But yeah, Wigan boys are generally up for it.
Maybe Jack Ashworth.
Oh yeah, true, yeah.
Big
he won't mess about, would it?
No.
Some old boys, yeah. Old boys in there. You start thinking around your clubs now, like who'd just be well up for it. Yeah, I'm going to go with Brad O'Neill. I'm going to throw Clemmer in there. Previous history. Few scraps, no messing about in NRL. Oof. my third choice, I'm going to go with... Tough one, mate. It's a tough one. Might have to throw another hooker in there, you know.
Okay.
I think hookers just love it, don't they?
Jared O'Connor.
Yeah, true. I reckon he could be handy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw Jared O'Connor in there might not be a bad shout. Just not got much height, have I?
No, that's why I went with
Not
Tom
an issue.
Burgess.
Yeah, Tom Burgess. He might just be dancing and singing though next to it. He might just not like a scrap.
Yeah. I reckon he's
We're
dead
not
game.
messing, are we?
No.
Yeah.
No, I reckon
Yeah,
he's
do you know
dead
what? Brad O'Neill, I reckon Daz Clark would be handy.
game. Yeah.
I reckon he'd be handy. Castlad.
Castlad, yeah.
Not messing with Casslads, are you? Yeah. I'll throw Daz in actually. Daz, David Clement and Brad O'Neill. Saints Wigan boys in there. Great shouts. We'll see what happens in upcoming season.
Yeah.
And then just thinking ahead, so in this 2026 season preview, we look through all the teams, some in a little bit more depth than others, but thinking ahead to sort of individual people next season, and we look at from a coaching side of things and a playing side. We'll start with coaches. Which coach do you think is under pressure already going into this 2026 season?
Not necessarily to be sacked or like that, but Willie Peters has got to be up there.
Why?
But that's just because of what they did last season. They probably go into this season like Wigan have done or Saints have done for the last however many years, or for as long as you can really remember. Just they're going to expect to win this year, whether it be the World Club Challenge, Challenge Cup, anything like that. They're going to expect league leaders and grand final, so they're going to expect to be there or thereabouts come them points at end of season.
Do you not think last year maybe he's giving him a little bit of...
No, yeah, he's, like I said, he's not under pressure in that sense. I don't think fans wouldn't turn on him or all like that, but just with the recent success.
Expectations.
Yeah, expectation. Yeah, it's quite an hard one actually, because like I say, he's not under pressure. Even if there wasn't to have the same season as last, I don't think fans would turn him out like that. But yeah, I think that just all KR in general maybe under a little bit more pressure now than they have in recent years.
From a fan's side.
Yeah,
You can see that, can't you?
Yeah.
We already spoke in the last episode about their season and a tough start they've got. If it doesn't go the way their fans are expecting it maybe to go. I mean, some probably won't even be expecting the world from them. To go and beat Brisbane's a big ask, but a lot of them will be maybe hope more than sort of expectation. But you can imagine that the amount of games they won last year, the rugby that they were playing, the resilience in defence. There's definitely a possibility that some fans could possibly turn a little bit toxic if they don't start pulling together. And the thing is with them, if Full FC start throwing a few wins together and they're above them in the table.
Yeah, that's when pressure mounts,
Pressure's going to
big
come.
rivalry in it, Yeah.
What do you think to Brad Arthur? Is he under pressure?
Potentially. Yeah, just with the way they finished last season, obviously going out to that Saints game, they probably expected to win that game. Yeah, potentially. Look, he's only got a year though. He's got this year on it. He could be under a little bit of pressure. I think this year is going to be quite hard because I think the top six is up for grabs for quite a lot of teams, to be fair, more than obviously the six positions. So I think them sort of teams, your teams like Leeds and whatnot, I've actually predicted them to finish third, so hopefully he's not under too much pressure. But I think them sort of teams, they're all you even look at Wakefield, Darryl Powell could potentially be under a little bit of pressure. He signed a long-term deal as well.
Did they overachieve last year?
It's hard to say, innit? They grabbed the sixth spot. There were teams obviously way off it last year with Warrington and Catalans. I don't think they overachieved because they played well. I enjoyed watching them last season. And probably enjoy watching them this season. I hope they finish top six.
Is it just the fact that other teams have likely strengthened?
Yeah, I think that's where the problem, because obviously Hull FC missed out last year and I don't see them missing out this year. They're strong. Their squad looks very strong.
Warrington?
I haven't got them for top six. I think that's another team that could come under quite a lot of pressure. Warrington. They always expect Warrington's year in it every year, but they always come under.
Will it be Warrington's year? Let us know in the comments.
They always come under immense pressure. So I like the approach that they've taken this year. Obviously, it looks like Matt Duffy's on the way out, doesn't it?
Yeah, Witness. I saw.
Really?
Yeah, Witness on loan.
Yeah. He's going to go somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I just seen.
He's going to go somewhere.
So obviously it meant to be York, wasn't it? But
yeah, he's going to go somewhere. But yeah, there's a few teams in and around that, like probably the ones that are fighting for the top 6. They're probably the ones under pressure because, like I say, Hull FC looked. Catalans on paper have got a really strong squad. Whether they manage to muster, I think they've always had a pretty strong squad in recent years. To be fair, Catalan, it just depends whether they click and things like that. So we might see them potentially.
So Willie Peters, you think is probably the most under threat, not in a sense of
not in the
top.
Yeah.
You know that.
Not in the sense of that. I just think like if they were to go, let's say this season and finish second or third or fourth or fifth and pick up no silverware, would Hull KR fans be happy with that?
I don't think they would.
That's my point. And then you've got...
So what happens? Just in that scenario, Hull KR finish outside the top 4, they finish 5th. Well,
he's off contract. Is he off contract? I'm sure he's off contract. His plans is to go to the NRL. He's made that quite open and clear. I don't think he won't want to leave under bad... in any bad circumstances, and like I say, it's definitely going to get sacked. They're going to be there or thereabouts, aren't they? They're going to be up there. I just think they might come under a little bit of pressure. Wigan, after last year, that was again for Wigan standards, it was a bit of a failure last year.
Yeah.
They didn't pick anything up, so they're going to be coming back this year stronger. Matt Pete's going to be firing on all cylinders. And
he's another one though. Is Matt Pete under pressure?
No, just because. Obviously, he won the treble, didn't he? I don't think he's going to come under pressure. I think the start of their season is going to be a lot better this year. No World Club Challenge, no Vegas trip. All they've got to do is just focus on winning games at home. Whereas, like you say, Hull KR, a lot of their players will be focused on the Vegas trip.
It's almost like spinning.
Yeah. And a lot of them will be focused on the World Club Challenge. Because every single player is going to want to play in that World Club Challenge, and every single player is going to want to play in Vegas. So I'm not saying they'll take the foot off the gas in any of the games or all like that, but it's a lot of travelling. It's a lot of they're going to give absolute 1,000,000% in that World Club Challenge game. Does that hamper them for the week before or the week after? Who knows? And if they pick up a few losses, it could just not derail them, but it could just end up having a tricky start to the season.
Inevitably, I think that is going to impact that Hull KR team, whether it's at the beginning of the season, in the middle, or towards the end. At some point, it'll have to take its toll. We've seen it year after year with teams, whether it's they've gone on a broad trip somewhere else.
Saints did it when Saints went to World
Cup Challenge. So we're going to have had their World Cup Challenge. It's happened before when, I don't know if you remember, a fair few years ago when I think it was Leeds and Hull FC, they went out to Australia. And again, it's just, they go out, it sounds great, it's good for the game, but how does that affect the team?
Yeah.
Possibly. So Willie Peters possibly under pressure. What about any of the new promoted clubs? You've got coaches there.
I don't think they're under pressure, are they really?
Yeah, do you think I just think the season out?
Yeah, the squads that they've got, I don't think they're under pressure. I just think, you look at the squads compared to other squads, and even the squads that finished, quite low last year. You look at Huddersfield Giants. I don't think their squad's bad.
No,
they've got a good squad. They've got a bit of depth there. It'd be interesting to see how they go on. Obviously, they've got Adam Clune as the new captain. I think there's a bit of pressure on him. He's going to
which we'll come on to.
Yeah, but I just think for the teams that have come up, I can't see anything but them three finishing bottom. I think Castleford, Huddersfield Giants, and them teams that were quite low down have massively improved.
Is a realistic aim for them three promoted clubs to basically be the best of the three?
Don't get me wrong, I know they won't be sat there thinking that.
So 12th place is a good finish for either Bradford, York or Toulouse.
They won't sit there and think that. Obviously they're going to aim for higher than that. But I think if it came to it, then probably they're going to try to pick up a few. They'll all pick up wins throughout the season. But I think that's their biggest.
If
I was a Bradford fan, York fan, or Toulouse fan, my hopes would just be finish above them three. Whatever else happens is a bonus.
Exactly that. I see it as that. You finish, you're aiming for 12th.
Yeah.
And that sounds really
probably
quite underwhelming if you're possibly a fan or if you're just a competitive sports person in general. Why are we aiming for 12th? Because a lot of these people start the season preview, what are your aims for this year? Silverware. But realistically, Bradford, York, Toulouse, their silverware has been in that Super League.
Yeah, 100%.
But a lot of these clubs now talk about, and their owners, the managers, coaches, everyone else around there talks about it's more of a project rather than...
Yeah, and it will be. They didn't get given enough time, more or less, really, did they? I think you look at like Bradford ended up getting a lot of Salford players, so that maybe they got a bit of luck there with the Salford, obviously, not being in Super League and having a fair few players in their squad that was available. So, yeah,
possibly
I think...
else, it sounds daft, but just even a location thing for them. I'm just thinking then, why did Toulouse and sort of York not really take as much advantage with the Salford sort of lot?
Potentially, yeah.
Think ahead to that M62, it's probably the commute to Bradford is probably not as bad, and they can still probably live in Manchester.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. To be fair, Toulouse haven't made very many signings at all, which is sometimes I think it's a good thing. I know probably people. To be fair, Toulouse had a really good squad anyway. A really good championship squad. They've got a few decent players in there, so I think they'll go all right, Toulouse. But yeah, I think Bradford and York might struggle a little bit.
Does Paul Rowley come under pressure?
Yeah, massive. It was a toss-up. I think Paul Rowley, as a manager, I know I've said Willie Peters, and I still stand by that. But as like manager-wise, Paul Rowley is under more pressure, like for his job scrutiny and things like that. I think he's got a massive job there. I think I would be genuinely surprised if Saints go a load better than last year. Last year it wasn't that bad.
If Saints win no silverware, do they get rid of Paul Rowley?
No, I don't think they can. I think they still need the spine sorting out. I know Jackson Hastings is a massive boost, but I think you've got Tristan Saylor. For me, I just think Tristan Saylor is going to end up starting the year at 6. But I don't think he's your mainstay 6 for the full season. I just don't think he's a half at all. His best stint last year were at full back.
What would be a good finish for Saints this year?
Tricky in it, because my view compared to St Helens fans' view, or even St Helens players, we spoke with Lewis Murphy, and they're all hopeful. They're all Murphy said they really want to kick on for next season. But I think for me, they just need to solidify themselves in the top 6, whether that be a higher top 6 finish, i.e. 3rd, 4th, maybe. I don't think they want to get towards the back end of the season and be fighting for the 5th or 6th spot. If they can solidify themselves in there, maybe go on a Challenge Cup run, something like that, then I think that'd be maybe.
I think the interesting thing with St Helens is you look at some teams like Wigan. I don't think the game, the coaching staff's no different. The personnel's not really too different. The style of play is not really going to be any different. They'll maybe just execute a lot better, have a few less injuries. Whereas St Helens, you've got a different coaching staff, you've got different personnel, and their style of play is going to change. Paul Rowley's already come out and openly said that he said in a fans conference, I don't know if you saw,
I remember seeing it,
where he's said to the fans, "You've asked for exciting rugby.
You're gonna get
don't be surprised if we're dropping the ball or whatever on our own 10." So he's coming out with a different game style of play, isn't he?
I think, to be fair, that's the only thing I will say. I do think it'll suit certain type of players, i.e. maybe Tristan Saylor and Jack Wellsby, who are off-the-cuff players, like to do different things. And that's the problem. Sometimes it doesn't come off. I think Jack Wellsby came under a lot of pressure last year. But last year, it wasn't much different to what he's done in previous years. But in previous years, you've maybe had the defence to back it up when, say, he's made an error. Because the same way, you look at Reece Walsh in the NRL, he's been copped for it so many times of making mistakes. but they're at the same time they're the players that will win you the game and get something out of nowhere and win you that game. So I think Paul Rowley's rugby will suit them i.e. you sit and definitely suit your backs. You've got a lot of fast backs, i.e. obviously Lewis Murphy, Owen Dagnall on the wing. You've got Eddie McDonald now, who's got a lot of strikeout in centre. So see how they fare on.
I think the most under pressure, possibly controversial, is Matty Pete. Mm-hmm. I think last year, by standards, again, they get to finals. They're probably throughout the season. I don't think it was a season to remember for Wigan fans, both in terms of some of the games they lost, even in the manner of some of the games in which they lost as well. Probably not good enough by the standards of that club. He's been there a fair while now, and he's won his silverware. But does it get to a point? I know they've locked in a lot on these managers and coaches and backroom staff. But does it get to a point where, again, if we're sort of saying, right, they've got no World Cup challenge, they've got no Vegas trip. Yeah. Does it get to a point where halfway through the season they're not in that top two? Yeah. Is that a problem?
It will be. If I'm going to say top three, but they're not into top three come middle of the season. I know you can win grand final from, but obviously, like I said, they'll want the league leaders. They'll want.
Is that a shock going out of Challenge Cup last year?
Yeah, they went out to Hull. It was Hull FC at home. I think it was. Yeah. That's what I mean. So realistically, they've got to be having a decent cup run. Yeah. Because I think when you get to the final, I know you can still. They didn't play great against KR in the final at Old Trafford, but at the same time, when it comes to final, like you seen Warrington do it when Hull KR beat them in the Challenge Cup final. Warrington played so good. Yeah. And you wouldn't even think they were having the season that they're having because of that. They put everything into it. So when it comes to sort of final footy as they call it, the game, it's completely different.
Yeah, it's a different competition.
Yeah. So, but like I say, Wigan will want to be in the finals. Yeah. Thereabouts, won't they?
So Willie Peters for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Willie Peters. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Matty Pete.
Yeah.
But I think both are valid.
Yeah.
Coaches are always under threat, isn't it?
Yeah,
I suppose it's a sad thing.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Even teams down at the bottom end. Yeah. You look like Luke Robertson, he could come under a little bit of pressure. He's still new, still a novice, so to speak. I know he stepped in interim before a fair few times, but obviously he had his first full year last year. Yeah. Wasn't a failure, but obviously they struggled. They had a lot of injuries as well. Yeah, but obviously, like I said, they'll be open to kick on as well this year. So.
Which players then do you think are a bit under pressure this year? Who will be who needs a good season?
I think Jake Conor needs a good season for me.
Just to back it up? Yeah,
just to back it up. Yeah. I think last year was his first full year of being he is the main man of that team. He is.
New contract?
New contract. 3 year deal, wasn't it? So, he's under a little bit. And also, just with the World Cup coming up, I don't think he's going to want to be in that squad. So, I think he'll probably put himself under a little bit of pressure as well of wanting to, because if he performs like he does last season, and you've still got the same halfback choices as good, he's got to be in there or thereabouts. And if he isn't selected, then questions have got to be raised. Obviously, we don't know who the manager's going to be yet, but so he's going to want to have a massive season. So I think he could be under, and he'll be under a little bit of pressure from other fans as well and teams.
I think no doubt about it. He's class. He's all quality, isn't he? Brings a lot of quality to the game. He brings a lot of different things to the game that other people maybe don't dare to even try and do. But I think Jake Conor wants to be remembered as one of the great players. He has to back up. Yeah. And that's the difficulty, I think, with Man of Steel. And I don't think it's happened very often where someone's been able to win Man of Steel and back it up in something else. And we know the format of the Man of Steel is probably not the best format to base on.
It's a points system, isn't it?
I think there's flaws for both how it used to be. Because I know for a fact some players, it used to be a running joke. They'd just vote for a random person. But they tend to say, don't they, if the players vote for the best player, that tends to be the best accolade, whether it's in the team or...
100%, yeah.
So, Jake Conor, who else do you think's under pressure? Who needs a good season? So maybe not necessarily someone that's had a good season last season, but somebody that's possibly had maybe a not so good season, but needs a big season this one.
You could potentially go with Jack Wellsby.
I agree with that.
Just obviously, last season wasn't probably his best season in St Helens jersey, and then obviously he had the Ashes, which I don't think I think the performance were made out to be worse than what it actually was. Obviously, it wasn't a great performance. Obviously, he won't be happy with it. But yeah, like I say, for Saints, they're going to come under pressure. He needs to step up really, and like I say, if he wants that one jersey going into the World Cup, then he really needs to have a good season really. And
there's no doubt in his talent.
No,
he's shown it, and I think anyone to question is Jack Wellesby, one of the best rugby players in that league.
Yeah,
it would be daft.
Oh yeah,
He's
100%. Yeah,
you know, we've seen it time and time again. He's played multiple different positions.
Yeah, but that didn't help last season. Him swapping from halves to fullback, from halves to fullback. So that would have helped.
Yeah, about 10, 12 week, which ironically Saints then probably had the best period of the season.
Yeah, I think that did. Yeah, because a few people commented on that. Because obviously Tristan Taylor was playing fullback, but Tristan Taylor's always going to play better at fullback because he's a fullback. So that was always my view on it.
So he needs a big season, doesn't he? Because again, he's somebody that the game, when we spoke to Lewis Murphy before, these sort of players are the players what we need to be centering Super League. He's a homegrown talent, British player. Is the NRL off the cards for him at the moment? Because there was a period of time before where he's been in interviews and they've been asked, is the NRL something that's on the radar? It probably was, especially after the World Cup Challenge.
Yeah. The only problem is you look at the fullbacks in the NRL, and not even like the top ones, like like Reece Walsh and things like that. Is he better than any of them?
Good point.
Is someone going to chuck a wedge at him because he won't be going over there on peanuts? Is someone going to chuck a wedge at him? Even you look at the teams in the NRLs that didn't even play any finals and things like that. Is he better than some of their fullbacks that they've got over there and their choices?
Can he be better than some of their fullbacks? Or does he play
Yeah, but I said this with Herbie Farmworth as well on the last one with Lewis Murphy. I just think if Jack Wells was to be put in that environment and get trained, was training over there, like Lewis mentioned, he learnt so much over there and things like that. Do I think he'd be better? Yeah, but I feel like any player would. Yeah. So I definitely don't think it's out of the question as he can't go over there and he can't, be a good player and be a top player. I don't think that's the case. I just think where he's currently at is, performance-wise and what he's mustered up so far. Do I think he'd be ready to go over there and make that jump? No, I don't. Yeah. Not currently, no.
I suppose moving sort of further down the table, if you like, one player in mind, and it's probably been brought up already, Ryan Sutton at Bradford.
Yeah, it's not a pretty big signing. It's a big signing for them. Another thing is he under that much pressure because he hasn't played a lot of rugby in the last couple of years? In the last 2 years, I think he's made something like no more than like 12, 13 appearances. So I'd like him to have a good season. I think he will do if they keep him fit. Obviously, he's a big unit, isn't he? He's always been good when he was over here and when he first went over to Australia. Like I say, injuries have hampered him, and who knows? Yeah, maybe he does fall under a little bit of pressure. Maybe.
I think it's a very similar situation to when Luke Thompson came back and went to Wigan, not playing a lot of rugby.
Yeah.
He comes back, and I don't think, although they knew he were on Mega Brass, I don't think many people were sort of expecting the world, but he had a really solid first campaign with them. And I know obviously he didn't make the Ashes last year, which he'll be really disappointed by. He might be someone actually that probably needs a big year this year.
Yeah.
Leading into that World Cup. But I think he's a similar situation. Like, there's not massive expectation, but I think just because he's coming from the NRL,
yeah, I do get that. Yeah,
it carries that expectation naturally. I think
they're going to be one of the better players.
So I think Bradford will be thinking, especially Bradford fans will be thinking, he's a big signing.
Yeah,
we want him leading that line. He's definitely one of them. Harry Newman, final season for Rhinos.
Yeah, I think he'll be under a little bit of pressure just because as soon as he has a bad game, everyone's just going to be saying out there,
Ed's gone.
Yeah, he's focusing on next year. So he could come under a little bit of pressure with that, just through fickle fans, not necessarily. I mean, I'm sure there were times last year, I know he had a pretty good season last year, but I'm sure there were times last year where he didn't muster up the best performance in a game.
Yeah.
But obviously this year, I think fans will focus on it a lot more because like I say, it'll be in the back of everyone's mind. He's just focusing on next year sort of thing. So he could come under a little bit of pressure there, at Leeds.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you say, as soon as you say, he's having possibly a bad game, out injured, injuries happen, you can't doubt his resilience and probably mental toughness to come back.
No, I wouldn't say he's been through some horrible injuries,
The injuries have been tough and he's come back and he didn't look out of place in the Ashes, I didn't think.
No, I thought he did pretty well. It would have been nice for him, obviously, playing it. I know he'll definitely wanted to still play it, obviously, Wembley and the Hull Dickinson Everton Stadium, but I think, him being on that pitch that he plays on every week will have helped, and enjoying himself out there. He looked to be one of the exciting sparks out there, and I don't think he'll look out of place in the NRL. I think he's a really good centre.
Yeah,
I think
aggressive.
He'll cart the ball forward. Loves running across. Always does that thing when he hops, skip, and jumps across the line. Doesn't he? And he looks for space and plays with his head up, sort of thing. I don't think he'll look out of place over there at all.
One that I was thinking of, and he's not particularly under pressure, but I think this is his chance to really shine and see if he's, I'm not going to say as good as his dad, and I think who I'm probably talking about, but Jackson Field, I think, needs a big year at Wakefield. Yeah,
potentially, I don't think he's necessarily looked bad at Leeds, when he's played. Like I say, he's still only young, he's 2021, so he's still got loads of learning to do. I think what you see now, though, I think players do come through when they're a bit older compared to back when his dad were playing Kevin's in field. Players come through a little bit later now, and like I say, he's always going to have that massive pressure on him no matter what he's doing, where he is, because of his dad. So, I think he'll be looking to have a good solid year at Wakefield, because there is going to come a time, inevitably, unfortunately, where maybe Jake Truman or Mason Lee, for a period of time, might only be week, 2 weeks, isn't available and things like that. And I think Mason Lino's contract's actually up at the end of this year, so who knows, he could be looking to fight for that 7th spot for next year.
That's the project, I think, looking forward. I think they've looked to him and thought, actually, change of scenery, expectation possibly not as big. Wakefield fans will still be expecting a lot from him, but I think the change will do him good. And if I'm honest, I'm surprised he didn't go sooner. Because as we say, he's still young, but some of these players seem to sort of possibly exit the club a little bit quicker. We know how quick the academy produce player after player after player.
Yeah.
There's a half in every year group or a hooker in every year coming through. There are players behind him now we've seen in the Boxing Day friendly. They've got half-backs coming through, so possibly that is why Leeds were, I'm not saying happy to let him go, but I think that's possibly why he's been allowed to sort of head over.
Well, I think it'll do him well as well. Obviously, he's been at a club where his dad's like the living legend. He's a legend there. So I think it'll do him well. Going to a different club, maybe it'll shine a light on him a little bit more, maybe going to a different club, because I'm not at Leeds. Maybe if he did have a bad performance, he would get away with it a little bit more because of his dad. Sort of thing. That sort of thing. Like, fans don't want to be too harsh on him because of his dad. So maybe it'll do him well going to Wakefield, maybe stand on his own 2 feet.
I think so. I think it'll help him going there. I think not the expectations are less, but I think probably the shackles are off a little bit there. Less scrutiny on him. But I do think he possibly needs, if he gets a good run of games, he needs a good season. And that's been possibly his letdown. Not on his part, but he's just
not had a full run of game, has he? If he managed to muster up 4 or 5 games consecutively, then it might look a little bit better, because he'll get him. It's hard, isn't it, to come in just for one game knowing you're probably going to play that game. Say if there's a suspension or because they know, say if Jake Conor were injured and he's going to be back in 2 weeks, he knows he's getting 2 weeks tops. You know what I mean? And he knows he's back out, so sometimes that puts a little bit of pressure on. But if he manages to get a good run of games in, I think he'll do well. He looks like a good player.
Nice. And what about if we look ahead to sort of Man of Steel? And sometimes they're a bit of a stab in the dark, aren't they? But Man of Steel, Coach of the Year. Who's your Man of Steel and your Coach of the Year predictions?
I'm gonna go with father and son for the Coach of the Year and Man of Steel.
I know who you're going for.
Adrian Lamb and Lachlan Lamb.
Oh, right. Thought you were going to say Jake Arthur and Brad.
No. I'm going to go with Adrian Lamb and Lachlan Lamb. I think Lee have got a really good squad this year. And I think Lachlan Lamb last year killed it. First year that he's properly just stepped up and ran the team around the field. He's got a good half good half next to him. Not that he didn't last year, Gaz O'Brien, but got a good half this year next to him who looks really good as well. So yeah, I think they'll do really well, and because of that, I think Lachlan Lamb will pick up the Man of Steel.
Do you think it's possible? We've seen before, kind of sometimes a team that's further down the table, their players have been in the running for Man of Steel, whereas it used to be always, your best teams, your best players, the top three. I'm not saying in recent years the best three nominees have not been at the top of the tree.
You do see it though, yeah. You got, I think, Blake Taff at Castleford Tigers.
A few upset mentions.
Yeah, I think he just could be a little bit of a standout there. So he's quick. He's your full back that we've seen come over here now, like your Bevan French's, Jai Field. Matt Duffy, them sort of type of players. He's fast, he's elusive, not afraid to try off the cuff things, and I think it'll probably suit his game over here. So yeah, I think he could muster up a fair few Man of Steel points if he stays fixed. I think Castleford will have a little bit. They will have a better season than they did last year. Anything's a better season than last year. But yeah, I think he could be one of their better players in that back line.
Do you think there's any previous Man of Steel winners that could win it again this season?
I don't think Jake Connor's out of question. If he musters up what he did last year, Leeds have got a pretty similar. They're pretty much same squad. No, they've lost a few and they brought a few in, but they've got a pretty similar squad to they did last year. So not too much is going to change for Jake Connor in that aspect. He's still got the same half next to him in Brodie Croft, and he's still got the same fullback in Lucky Miller. And he's still got the same 9 in Jared O'Connor. No, Andy Ackers is left, but he didn't play that much last year. I think he struggled with injuries and whatnot. But yeah, so I think that'll probably help Jake having the same sort of spine with him. And then also, who else was I going to say then? I've lost it now.
I think when you look at Man of Steel as well, it comes down to, can they have an injury-free campaign?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Bevan French and Jai Field, that's what I want to say. So you can never look past them sort of them two players.
They're the two for me that come to mind. Bevan French, Jai Field. They seem to muster up performances, whether it's one that does it one way, one that does it another.
That's it, innit? Yeah, I think they've got that. They've got two players in the spine that can just bring something out of nothing, and you see it time after time after time, where they'll just get a try out of nothing. They're
the highlight reel.
Yeah, they're your superstar players.
If you were watching, you missed the game on a Friday night, Wigan have played someone, whether they've won 10-0 or 40-0, you're looking at it thinking, Bevan French and Jai Field are going to be in that highlight somewhere. And you'd be shocked if they weren't.
And I think it's good for Super League. I think Bevan French, since he's been over like 6-7 years now.
Yeah, he's been 2019.
Yeah, he's been over here a while, and I think that's good for Super League because he'll have definitely had opportunities to go back.
Wigan have done great.
To do it NRL, and I know other fans might not see it, but it's good for Super League as a whole having them sort of players in Super League, whether it be Lachlan Lamb at Leigh, whether it be your Will Price and things like that at Hull, and Mikey Lewis at KR, and these sort of players. It's all good for Super League, having these sort of players that just stand out, the players that you hate playing against. But it's all great for Super League having these sort of players, and I feel like we're getting more superstars now than before. I know you look back now, and I know we've had loads over the years, but I feel like now we're really keeping the NRL players that are coming over at a younger age as well, which I think is a lot better. Notoriously before, players were coming over at sort of 30 north, weren't they? Yeah. For last sort of big payday. A bit of an holiday, tour Europe and things like that, but keeping players like Jai Field's been over here quite a fair few years now.
Yeah, and he struggled in that first year, didn't he? But he sort of stuck with him, and he's come up trumps really, hasn't he? You took mine actually, the one that I was thinking of, and again it depends on injuries, but I think Will Price is going to be up there. I just think he's going to have a really good season. I think first proper full season back in Super League. Hopefully injury free. He's again another one of these Bevan French, Jai Field sort of players that just adds something different when you're watching. You watch the game. Sometimes you're not watching because you want to watch LFC. If you're neutral, you're watching because you're looking forward to is Will Price going to be scoring a full length for, And
I think he'll go to World Cups with me. I think he's going to be. I think he could go over AJ Brimson as that player that can play, because Will Price can play in halves as well.
I don't think, side note, AJ Brimson doesn't get back in that squad. I just don't think he comes back into that squad.
Oh, I don't. Yeah.
But we won't go into it on this one.
We'll go over that a later date. But I definitely think Will Price will go to the World Cup if he stays, obviously injury free, especially for the last half of the season. Yeah. And like I say, it won't surprise me if he's up there at Man of Steel points.
I think I'm going to go with Will Price for Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And then I think Coach of the Year. I don't think they'll finish as high as what you think, but I think you're not far off with Adrian Lam.
Yeah. I think it is. I think Lachlan Lam deserved to be in the Team of the Year last year. So
I agree with that.
That's why I've gone with that. And I don't know. I feel like it'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? Seeing father and son,
definitely.
Manager of the year and player of the year. So
put on Player of the Month and Coach of the Month.
Yeah, I think they've done it.
Got to be cool, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be. It's a nice touch in it. So they're mine too. I think. Like I said, I already said, Lee, you're going to have a good year, so yeah.
And then just moving on to, who's your surprise this year? So surprise team, surprise player.
My surprise team is Huddersfield Giants.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know a lot of people probably won't see that, but I think Luke Robinson, I think he has got the minerals for the job. I know maybe a lot of Giants fans have maybe say, not too many, but you sort of question it over the season. I don't think any manager across the world in the NRL or Super League was going to do any better than what Luke Robinson did last year with that squad. He had a lot of injuries.
They did, but you can't take away from the fact with Huddersfield, they spend so much money.
Yeah. I 100% get what you're saying. Like I say, I've lived in Huddersfield all my life, so I've always kept a close eye on sort of Giants, and they have been frustrating at times.
It's like the team. I don't think anyone ever has anything against Huddersfield, apart from the cowbell. But I don't think, as a team, no one's like, I can't stand that team. Like, Saints fans with Wigan were saying it's Hull. I don't know if it's because they're quite neutralised and they've not really got that sort of local derby.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I'm not saying they're everyone's second favourite team, but I don't think anyone sort of hopes they do bad. I think it's just a case of they just don't do very well.
I mean, I don't know their like sort of recruitment model down there. I think over the years they've had some bad signings. I still think they've got. I'm not really going to touch on it, but I still think they've got bad signings in that squad currently on big money who's not performing as they should be.
Yeah.
But I just think, obviously I've seen him on social media and things like that. I think Tulel here looks quite trim, he's looking well. They've got Niall Evans, who apparently by all accounts in pre-season has been looking really well, which is a little bit of a shame for potentially, George Flanagan. But like I say, I think they've got a little bit of depth. I'm just excited to see how they go. I think, but when I say surprise packs, I don't think they're not going to get in the top 6, but I just think they're going to have a lot better season than they did last year, and I think they could beat some of the bigger teams when it comes to it.
I think Huddersfield fell in that bracket, and I'm not saying the Salford bracket, but a lot of teams probably in years gone by could struggle away at Huddersfield.
Yeah.
I think last year a lot of teams went to Huddersfield or played Huddersfield thinking probably, or even from a fan's point of view, they're thinking it's probably going to be an easy ride this. Not saying it's going to be 40, 50 points every game, but you're likely going to get a win. Yeah,
100%. I think it did. Giants fans probably won't realise this at the time, but I think looking at last year, it's helped them in ways they probably didn't know. They give a few lads the debuts. You've got players like Kieran Rush, young player. He's had another season under his belt and he's played a lot of first team rugby. George Flanagan had a breakout season and was definitely one of the standouts, if not the standout. So I just think, I think they can kick on a little bit, keep building. They've got some really good young players there that they can probably, like I say, George Flanagan, he's the player you want to build your team around for the next 10 years, 15 years. So, them sort of players. But I'm interested to see how they get on. They're going to be my sort of little surprise. Between them and Castleford, to be fair.
Castleford are an interesting one.
Yeah, very interesting. The only thing that worries me a little bit is just she's got a brand new team, which I know they've gone to
shop. They've never made a meal before. They've gone to shop, bought every new item they possibly can, and they're trying to throw it together to make a meal.
Yeah,
and it might go well.
Don't get me wrong. Anything on last year has got to be better. I think they've really bolstered the back line, get them out of them tough places, yardage wise.
Is top 6 realistic for them? It's not for me.
It's not. No, it's not for me. I just think I genuinely believe this. I'm looking forward to this season a lot more than I have other seasons. I always look forward to the season. I'm always itching to get there. As soon as you get like to end of January, I'm always itching to get there. But
it's like going without something.
Yeah,
and then eventually you get it back.
Yeah, but this year I'm really looking forward to see how it all fares up, because I believe you've got 9 teams there all fighting for the top 6.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Because you've got obviously KR going to be thereabouts, aren't they? All them. So every team that finished in it last year. But then you've also got the teams that didn't finish it last year: Hull FC, Catalan Dragons, and Warrington Wolves. That's another 3 there, and all them teams are going to be fighting for top 6. But who knows? A team like Castleford or Giants, if they get a good run together, and it gets to midway through the season, and they're 6th or 7th or even higher, then they're going to be dead up for it.
This is the mad thing, because what normally happens is when you look at the season, like I think. Everyone's guilty of doing this every time the season starts. You get that optimism, season's about to start.
Yeah.
Surely they're going to be in the top 6.
Yeah,
Surely they're going to be better this year. So you think Huddersfield got to be better, Warrington have, Catalan have, Castleford have.
Yeah.
And then you just assume that all the ones above, they're just going to be better or at least maintain. Whereas, that's probably not going to happen. So it's either they all do get better, and then some of them ones above, so whether it be your Saints, your Wigan, Ulcan, they drop back down.
It's going to be a tough year for a lot of them teams, isn't it? Like Wake is going to be a tough year for them, because their fans, and not all of that, not even just the fans, the players, Darryl Powell, Matt Ellis, they're all going to be expecting and wanting to finish in top 6. They're going to be fighting for that.
Vulnerable.
I potentially do, but don't get me wrong. I think last year. Like I said, we went obviously over at the beginning. I don't think they necessarily overachieved. They played good rugby.
I think you've got your big fish in that top 6 pond.
Yeah.
Wakefield are not a big fish in there. Unfortunately, that's how it is. They've done brilliant things. They've looked great. Darryl Powell's got on playing excellent rugby. Yeah. And I hope that continues. Got good at game. Yeah. But I think, did they overachieve last year? I think couldn't be really argued against saying, yeah, they probably did.
Yeah, it's one of those, and it's a tough one to call, because, like I say, if Wakey play like they did last season with even a little bit more consistency, they were there.
If someone's dropping out of the top 6,
that's my problem, because that's who I'd go for as well. Because I 100% think FC are going to finish in there, but it's difficult in it because they've got a good squad.
So on paper, if you said to me Castleford, Wakefield, who's more likely to get in top 6, I'd be saying Wakefield.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So then it's, can Castleford breach into that top 6? For me, no. Can they get in top 8? Are they better than Catalan and Warrington? No.
Yeah.
But should they be around there with what improvements they're making off the field?
Yeah.
The players.
There's a lot of change going on in the club, isn't there?
It'd be interesting. I think they're interesting. But on a sort of a side note, for me, I think that Catalan will not be any worse than last year. I think they'll be better at home. I think they lost that sort of
I know what you mean. Yeah,
power at home. They'd sort of win a lot of their own games. Even these big fish we spoke about would go over there and would struggle or potentially lose. Yeah. Last year, teams were going and beating them. I can't see that happening. Interesting to see how Joel Tompkins goes, and I think he could be in line for a coach at year job, because again, they can't be any worse, but they have got the players and personnel. Like Castleford can't do any worse, but I don't think they've got the same players and personnel that Catalan have got to make improvements.
If we were to look at their cap and what they've got on there, like Lewis Dodd won't be on low, he'll be on good money. Toby Sexton will be on megas. You can look.
Ali that's gone there as well.
He'll be on.
So he's already on his way next year, isn't he? Toby
They've got a lot of players that'll be on a massive whack that I've got to deliver. But at the same time, it's hard, isn't it? Because a lot of them are on 1-year contracts. A lot of them are going to be leaving at the end of the year. I mean, we don't know what's happening with Lewis Dodd, but my money's on him going to Warrington, just with George, and I think Mark Sneed's up as well. So they literally need a 6 and a 7.
Does Lewis Dodd go to Warrington next season?
Yeah, I believe he does.
I agree.
I just think Warrington's going to pay the money.
Do they announce it mid-season?
No, I believe it get announced at the end of the season. If they don't announce it before, there's going to be rumours that have come out eventually, whether that does come out at mid-season. But I think the way that they've done it, they've announced the other players are leaving, aren't they? i.e. Sexton and stuff like that, going to Perth Bears and whatnot. I think they should just announce and get it over and done with. To get it over and done with at the beginning of the season. Or, if they're not going to, that's fair enough, but announce it right at the very end. But they won't. The whispers, Chinese whispers will come out at some point, won't they? And, yeah.
I think in terms of sort of a player surprise package this year, I think Tyler Dupree is going to have a really good season.
Yeah.
I think he'll be
Toulouse,
a real standout at Toulouse.
Yeah.
And we've just mentioned there, I think Lewis Dodd's going to have a good season at Catalan.
Yeah, can't look past them too. My surprise package isn't actually a surprise package, because I know Wakefield fans will 100% back me on this, but I think he's the most underrated player across Super League and just in general.
Ollie Pratt.
No, Max Jowett. I think he's so good.
Yeah.
I think he's so good. I think
Why does he not get the?
Because he's just not your flair player. I don't know what it is. Did
he dye his hair blonde? Do you reckon he'd look better?
I don't know. He's just, for me, I think he's one of the best fullbacks in the comp, and I think a lot of teams would take him.
It's consistent, isn't it? Very
consistent. His decision making in attack and defence is second to none.
It makes you wonder why none of the bigger clubs, I'm saying bigger, why these sort of top four clubs have not looked at him already.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. Is he? I mean, I always thought, like, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but it's a massive coup for Wakefield having him. You just know what you're getting with him. Solid as all. And if he was to stay, I know he had a little bit of an injury throughout last season. He missed a few weeks, but if he was to stay fit, he can be there or thereabouts. Man of Steels. Gets a lot of assists out the back. You know, obviously he's goal kicker as well. Yeah,
it's got pretty much everything, hasn't it?
Honestly,
I don't know whether.
I don't know what it is.
Obviously,
I don't necessarily think he's underrated. I think a lot of people seen last year what he can do, but I just think he just doesn't get the plaudits. But I've said this all along, like you sort of your big clubs that are at the top. As soon as you come through as a youth there, and I feel like that's why what generates massive pressure on him is you're the best.
Yeah.
You're the best thing ever. And then as soon as, like say, Jack Wellsby has a little bit of a dip in form, he's struggling a bit, as the whole Saints squad then pressure mounts up on them sort of players, whereas you go a little bit. It's like I said it last episode. George Flanagan came through at Wigan, Saints, Warrington, and now he's the next. I know we got a lot of plaudits last season, but the next Harry Robertson would be the next best thing ever, and it'd be this, that, and other. So yeah.
So just to clarify then, coaches under threat. I've gone McPeak.
But Willie
Peters. Players that need a big season. So just one player you think needs a big season?
I'm gonna go with Jake Conor.
Yeah. I think you'll probably bang on with Jack Wellsby. I think he needs a big year.
Yeah.
Jack Wellsby needs a big year.
Yeah, I know. I did go for them too. The only reason is just because I know, obviously, Jack Wellsby's going to be in that England squad. I think even if he has a season like he did last year, I think he's going to be in the England squad, innit?
Yeah.
Whereas Jake Conor, obviously, he wants to get in that England squad, and rightly so, he should be if he performs like he did last year.
Man of Steel, I'm going Will Price. You're going Lachlan Lamb. Coach of the year?
Adrian Lamb.
I did say Adrian Lamb, but now further I've gone into the podcast, I'm going to change. I'm going to go Joel Tompkins. Yeah. I think he'll end up with Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Surprise team?
You know what? I know I spoke about them both. I'm going to go Castleford. I'm going to go Castleford as a surprise team.
Right, I'm going to go Catalan.
Yeah.
Just on the back of that, I think they've got the personnel to actually make big improvements and won't be any worse than last year.
No, definitely not.
I'm going to go with Catalan for that. Surprise player, so a player to have a good season? One player?
I don't really want to go with Max Jowett because he's not a surprise player. But
I know what you mean.
It's like...
Is he going to get the plaudits of
Super League? I'm going to go Max... No, I'm not going to go Max Jowett because it makes it sound a little bit like... like I say, I think he's class anyway. I think he's been class last year.
But I don't think 90% of other Super League fans do.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So I think he still comes into that bracket.
Right, yeah, I'm going to go with Max Jowett then. I think he's going to have another really good year for Wakefield.
I'm going to go with Tyler Dupree. I think he's going to have a bit of a rogue one, but I think he'll have a big season at Toulouse and look a really good player. And I don't think he won't be there season afterwards, put it that way. Yeah. I think he'll be on somewhere else, getting back to his best. So yeah, that wraps up episode 2 of Unfiltered Rugby League. Thank you for listening and watching Unfiltered Rugby League episode 2. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and Spotify channel. And we'll see you next time.